It happened. It's out. It's here. Halo Season 1, Episode 1. It is out. Called Contact. I would rather come in close contact with someone with a venereal disease, but I'm going to give my thoughts on it if that didn't make it clear enough. I'm going to do a quick summary, well, I'm going to try to make it quick, of the plot of this first episode, where it's going, and then I'm going to give some thoughts on what I think about the show so far. So, we open up on a planet Midrigal. It is a water extraction planet, which basically looks like an oil refinery. It's in the outer colonies, and we're in the year 2552. A reporter on the local news is saying the UNSC leadership on Reach wants to enslave us. I'm assuming these are based on the insurgents from the pre-Covenant War in the games, but the writer said they don't talk about the games, so fucking knows. So Reach is a thing. Reach is here. Reach is not glassed. Reach is still very much in play in this new universe. And the UNSC is bad. Okay, maybe it's propaganda from the insurgents. Or insurrectionists, that's to say. There's an old man playing cards with a big group of diverse cast members, and, basically talks about the Spartans are living legends, blah, blah, blah. Now we switch to pretty much the main character of this show, Kwan Ha. She is out in the woods with her friends, looking for drugs. I don't know why we should show the teenagers looking for smack, but I guess that's what we're doing right here. So they're outside of the compound on Midrigal, and they're looking around for their fix, and they see a Covenant ship, or Kwan sees a Covenant ship. She goes out to check it out, and her friends don't believe her. They think it's a joke, and they get absolutely fucking smoked by the Covenant. So Kwan takes off, shoots a flare up. They go out, they open the gate. She makes it back inside the compound. The fighters from the compound, or I'll say little city, or whatever you want to call it, they take up defensive positions. They have AKs style weapons in the 26th century, which is kind of weird. But they have Warthog chain guns, so that's cool, right? On the back of flatbed Toyota trucks. But anyway, so the fighters take up their defensive, positions with their AK-47s in the 26th century. Then a 20 elite raiding party attacks and absolutely wipes the fucking entire population out. Smokes them, all of them. And the CGI on these elites, fucking bad. It's terrible. I'm gonna swear a lot during this review. I apologize. But the elites look shitty. They look terrible. And they're fat. Now, my favorite Halo games are 1 through 3. That is one of the best. That's probably my favorite game and trilogy of all time. Right up there with Arkham. The elites are, they were fast, agile. These look like some Chungus boys. Okay, the elites are fat and the CGI looks like crap. But hey, I did hear a few warts in there. The wart. I can appreciate that. So now, Chief drops down. From a Condor dropship, Chief drops in with Silver Team. Not Blue Team. Silver Team. You may get a little confusing because they had the fucking audacity to use the Blue Team's logo. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Blue Team is Master Chief's fire team from the games. But Blue Team is his fire team. Now it's same logo, different characters. Now it's Silver Team. Fucking K. It's made up of Chief, Riz, Vanek, and Kai. One of the elites when they see Chief, they refer to him as Demon, which is a little nod to what they refer to him as the games, because he has that kind of reputation. They think he's unkillable, they think he's a demon, blah, blah, blah. So Chief drops down with Silver Team and absolutely starts bodying this entire Covenant attacking force. I mean, he starts killing them, which is a little confusing to me at first, because the locals were using ballistic weapons. Silver Team was using ballistic weapons. Now, the locals, when they were using ballistic weapons, they didn't even scratch these elites. Didn't even put a dent in them, just kept bouncing off their shields like nothing. Now, when the Spartans drop down, I get it, they're Spartans, but it's still ballistic weapons. Including the rail or chain gun from the Warthog turret that didn't put a scratch on the elites when the normal locals were using it, but Chief picks it up and bodies 3 of them just like that. Very inconsistent. Incredibly inconsistent. That took me out of the entire fight, which I honestly enjoyed the fight up to that point. When he picked up that Warthog turret gun and just smoked 3 of them in a row, it took me completely out of it. Because I thought the fight scene was fine. I thought it was fine. They went right into first person to Chief. I thought the HUD looked, his heads up display looked like a cheap copy of the freaking game. There was no ammo counter, no grenade counter. It was orange, which you can give me that crap combat mode, whatever, because it was blue later in the show. I don't really think they paid that much attention. So Chief takes some fire. We get the same, the shield's low, shield charging, the beep, 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 beep. Ooh, we get that. Oh, dangle the keys, make you forget about all the bullshit that's going on that doesn't make any other sense, but will give you fun sounds that you remember from the video games.
Oh, I know what the ladies like.
So one of the Covenant elites, he's got the red armor on. You probably assume that's the commander. Covenant kills Quan's dad with the energy sword, then goes after her. Chief saves her, and then the theme of the show, like the opening intro, cuts to of course, they use the Halo theme in the first line of the intro, and they do some. It's like a remixed thing. It sounded like crap. I didn't like it. So, Silver Team inspects the Phantom that landed, that was carrying the 20-man attacking party from the Covenant. Then they investigate. Chief investigates the Covenant excavation site. He finds an object. Chief touches the object. Blue lights go through all out the room, up the corridors and all that. Looks very Forerunner-y to me. If you're not sure what the Forerunners are in Halo, just quick Google search. There's a lot of lore to this franchise that they use fucking none of, or they just cherry picked what they wanted. And Chief has a vision from his childhood. So an elite sees this, bolts, and escapes in a Banshee. Chief tells his team to take the Phantom back to base for inspection. Chief takes the object and Quan in the Condor and heads back to Reach. Now we cut to Reach, where Dr. Halsey reviews a mission report. She sees what happened to Chief, so she's kind of concerned. Admiral Parangoski gets upset about the optics of 150 civilians dying, even though she later orders the execution of the lone survivor of the encounter. Sure. Again, UNSC is evil in this show. I don't get it. Halsey states she's never seen this type of object before. She requests to have it brought straight to her for examination along with Chief. Halsey is cloning herself for the Cortana project. Okay. She's ordered to shut it down though. Admiral Parangoski does not approve of, she says the committee does not approve of the Cortana project. Now we cut to High Charity, which is the Covenant High City. It's like their capital. It's, their main hub. And we're introduced to the human Covenant leader. The human Covenant leader. There's a lot of problems there. I'm going to continue, but I'll unpack all those problems in a bit. I'm going to get finished with a little summary first. So Prophet Mercy says the artifact was exactly where she predicted it was, and the demon was able to awaken the artifact. Now, we cut to race swap to Miranda Keyes, and they ask her to get Quan to preach UNSC propaganda, basically, saying the Spartans saved her, and Quan gets all mad, and she says, no, I'm going to tell them, they attacked us, blah, 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 and then all the independent civilizations won't come with you, or won't, join with you. And so later, the UNSC is like, fuck it, take her out. Okay? So, Halsey calls Chief over, I guess, telecom, and Chief tells her he saw a family, which this concerns Halsey because she can tell he's having visions of his childhood. Now we see race swap Jacob Keyes, and he confirms that command, which you can only assume is Admiral Parangoski, is ordered the execution of Quan, saying she succumbed to her wounds. That's how they're going to cover it up. So Quan asks for food. She finds her something to eat. Oh my god, we're trying to make a relationship between these two. Yeah, whatever. So she asks Chief if he ever eats, and he says nuts, bolts, microchips. That was a joke. And she basically just laughs at him and berates him, and she's like, it's not funny. She says, you killed my mother at an insurrectionist meeting, which is a nod because the Spartan 2s were first developed to fight insurrectionists. This was pre-Covenant War. Quan basically calls Chief a robot, ridicules him, says he doesn't question anything. Now this, I'm sure, really gets to Chief. Chief then gets the order to terminate Quan, and he immediately doesn't refuse openly, but he kills the video feed of the ship. I feel like Chief should have asked me, why? What's going on? I need a reason. Give me an explanation for this. And Chief would be owed that as a high-ranking military member and one of the most dangerous assets in the UNSC. So he doesn't go through with it. He kills the video feed of the ship. Command attempts to lower the oxygen in the ship to knock them both out, but Chief overrides it. Then they send Pelicans to go intercept the ship because it's inbound. Silver Team is dispatched to apprehend Chief, but Halsey tells them to help, and they say yes, of course. No one's gonna hurt Chief. That's their dude, which I kind of like. They're sticking behind their leader, which I liked that part. Quan asks Chief, why are you helping me? And his only response is, I don't know. And this was after she drew a gun on Chief, and then we got the face reveal that I knew was gonna happen, and it still made me angry when it happened. That she automatically trusts him when she sees his face. I get it. It's supposed to be, human contact, blah, blah, blah. But she asks him, why are you helping me? He's like, I don't know. He's just defying orders. He's openly neglecting the UNSC, which is his family, his everything. That's what he knows. And he's just going to help this girl. So Chief attempts to override the ship and needs her help. She has, one of those moments in these, modern movies where she's like, fuck it, shoots one of the panels he's telling her to work on, and it just works. And Chief gives her a nod, like, yeah, good job. It reminded me very much of another scene in another Dead franchise.
I bypassed the compressor.
So the UNSC knocks the ship out of the air, but Chief touches the artifact and it EMPs everything around him except their ship. It powers that up. And then they escape Reach. Where to? I don't know. But that is essentially what happened in this first episode of Halo. Now, my personal thoughts on it. I went over some of this already, but the Elite CGI was freaking terrible. I thought it looked really out of date. I thought Prophet Mercy looked good. I thought that CGI was fine. But the Elites look terrible. The UNSC's evil. I don't get that at all. They're the protectors of humanity. I'm not sure why. I get it, you have insurrectionists, but I'm not sure why they're executing sole survivors of wiped out colonies. Chief's voice, man. I like Pablo Schreiber. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. But Chief's voice sounded like someone doing a bad impression of Chief. It honestly sounded like a Mandalorian knockoff a little bit. Speaking of another dead franchise, Star Wars. Yeah, the AK type weapons in year 2552, I don't get. They used a lot of characters, a lot of weapons, vehicles, uniforms, and names from the beloved games, but they used none of the lore. They just wanted that name recognition. Thought the costumes looked good. I don't think the Spartans were intimidating, like big enough. I don't think they cast a big enough shadow on other people. Spartans are, Chief's Chief's like 7 foot tall. Chief's like 7 foot tall, almost 300 pounds. Like, Chief is a monster of a human in his armor. He should tower over everybody. Quan's attitude towards Chief, pretty much for after he saved her, she just dismissed him, berated him, threatened him. She should be absolutely terrified of Chief. This dude is a giant. She is like a 15-year-old girl. But, strong, powerful women. It's modern Hollywood. They can't do that. She is going to be the key to everything. Quan is going to be the main character of this show. Another tidbit I saw it's gonna upset a lot of people is, besides Chief, there's like not a single good white person in this show. Halsey's not good. Nobody in the UNSC is good. Except I guess the only white people in the show that are good is Halsey and the foot soldiers and Chief. But there's no. You can tell there is very much forced diversity in this show, which also goes to Miranda and Jake McKee's race swaps, which is just checking boxes for modern Hollywood. We all know how it goes. This is a normal thing now for them. Yeah, Chief's an enemy of the UNSC now? Quan gets him to turn on the UNSC, and Chief doesn't even ask, even over comms, over nothing. Chief doesn't even attempt to ask for an explanation or demand an explanation. He's earned that right. He's a Master Chief. He's a Master Chief in the UNSC. He's the most lethal weapon they have. They should probably give the dude a benefit of the doubt, at least a bit, and maybe give him an explanation on what the hell is going through their minds. Covenant accepts and seems to answer to a human being. So the problem with that is, the Covenant, even though we found out it's propaganda in the game, want to wipe out humanity. They view them as a plague on the galaxy. They want to wipe them out, take them down. They want to be done with humanity, want them all gone. And another big problem I have with this is if the Covenant find Halo, they immediately win within 30 minutes of finding Halo, because all they have to do is go down, she activates the index, boom, there goes all sentient life in the galaxy. Gone. Because they need humans to access Halo, they need humans to access Forerunner artifacts, because humans are they have been passed down the mantle of responsibility by the Forerunners. Production and the writing in this show are really bad. The dialogue is really clunky. None of it felt natural. It all felt very forced. I kind of made a joke saying this show looks and is written like it should be slotted on CBS Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Not even really the primetime shows. This should be, the pre-show. The 20 Elite Raiding Party, I don't really get that one. We didn't have any grunts, jackals, hunters, nothing. Just straight up 20 elites. I thought that was kind of weird. Again, this show's going to be based on Quan. She's going to be the key to everything. It's going to be her show. She's going to drag Master Chief around and order him around and tell him what to do. Pretty on the nose for modern Hollywood. That's kind of what they do now. Yeah, I thought it was absolute crap, but it goes to show, I said it in a video before, they wanted Halo for the name and not the lore. They wanted Halo brand to tell their own woke-ass fucking Hollywood story. Look, my honest analysis would be, if you like Halo and you want a good Halo story, go play Halo 1 through 3. Don't watch this crap. I'm gonna watch it for you. You don't have to watch this shit.
Damn right I am.
Let's go play the games. You don't have to watch this crap. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.